Welcome to the channel and welcome to the show. The title of today's video was basically stolen from an old Thomas Sheridan video. I did that because, one, I think it's important that this is discussed, and I think I can add something to the discussion. Because this is a mistake that I've made in the past, and I'll gladly share it with you today. So what are we talking about? We're talking about love and light. This is something that creeps into a lot of ideologies, but it's most predominantly found in the New Age ideology. Now, when I was younger, I didn't feel a good connection to Dutch culture. So I searched everywhere for something different. And in New Age culture, I found something truly, well, I found something different. But in the last video, I already touched on this subject. Because in the last video, I said there's a reality to life on Earth. Meaning that there's a polarity to life on Earth. There are always two sides. It's a good, bad, up, down, man, woman. There's always this polarity. And if you forget this polarity, then life will remind you of its polarity. And often it won't remind you in a subtle way. That saying that the dildo of consequence rarely arrives lubed, yeah, this falls in that category. Now I want to go a little bit deeper in this video in why this whole attitude about everything is light, everything is love, everything is a lesson, everything loves you and you're always protected, why that doesn't benefit us if we hold those beliefs. Because I don't want to make it a discussion about what's true or not, because then people in the comments will say this is true and I will say that is true, and it becomes a tug of war and we won't get anywhere. I think it's wiser to discuss which thoughts are most beneficial for us. And I think that believing that everything is love and light is not beneficial for us. You see this, like I said, mostly in the New Age thing, but it's also a big part of Christianity. For one, there's heaven, of course, because when you die, you will get rewarded for your obedience and everything will be great and wonderful and Jesus will love you always and all that great stuff. But also they believe that Jesus will come back here on earth and then there will be heaven on earth. It's a very popular belief. I believe it's also in part part of even communism. Like communism always promises like this ideal world. We just need to just get rid of those rich people and then everything will be great. And the reason why it's just infected so many ideologies, it's because all of us want to believe it, especially those of us who have a tough time in life. Those who have a tough time in life would want nothing more to believe that we just need to do a couple of more things and then all the suffering can finally end for all eternity. So it's tempting. And in paganism, fortunately, we don't have a sort of heaven. I mean, we have Valhalla and we have Ragnarok, which is the pagan apocalypse. But after the apocalypse, life starts anew. So everything is cyclical. So it's tempting to think when you're in shit that maybe one thing, all the shit will end. But in paganism, we know this shit will never end. We'll always keep going. Cycles within cycles within cycles of cycles. The thing is this. Life is always flowing and life is always moving. You can see that in nature as well. Some things appear to move still, but when you look longer and closer, they don't. The forest behind me is always changing. The weather is always changing. The seasons are always changing. The big, large 12,000 year cycles that we know from Hinduism, everything is always changing and always moving. And what it is with this love and light and heaven, and that means they promise you a sort of perfect thing. which is, like I said, is tempting, but perfection is static. It's static, meaning it doesn't move, meaning it's not natural. Because life needs to move, and if things stay the same, it's not life. It's not natural. I believe there's this quote from Nietzsche, which he said, like, I can't believe in a God who does not dance. Which I think is a great quote, because he recognizes that everything moves and flows and everything tries to come full circle in nature. And if your God doesn't dance but only promises a static kind of heaven, then your God is man-made. Then your God is not really God. In that quote, he basically says, I will not pray to your false man-made gods. That's what I think he says, anyhow. That's my interpretation. So in life, you always need to make choices. And life always needs to be moving. And because you have to make choices, there's this tension between the choices. And you go good, bad, and there's always going to be. If you don't believe me, let me give you an example. Say you're a type of person who truly believes that there are just beings of light and angels guiding you. That's cool. I mean, I'm not judging, like whatever works for you, right? But do you think that angels have polarity? Well, you think probably no, right? Angels don't have polarity. What if I told you that even beings of light have polarity? I sat down in a quiet part of the forest, and there are like people parking their cars and making a lot of noise. I hope the audio of this video is all right, by the way, because my mic is kind of malfunctioning. I see if I can fix it in post-production. Where was I? I think even beings of light have polarity. Can you imagine that there's like this guardian angel that guides you and protects you all times, and you just like, you're human, so you make mistakes and you fuck things up? Don't you think that angel sometimes has to make a decision? Am I going to act out of love, or am I going to act out of wisdom? Those are choices. That's polarity. You know, love meaning you can shelter him a bit, and wisdom, you can let him experience that. But it's a very mild kind of polarity, but it is a polarity nonetheless. So if even beings of light, of pure light, exist, even they have polarity. And like I said, when I was younger and I didn't know like this paganism stuff existed, I got into this new age stuff, and I also believed that, you know, everything's a lesson and I'm loved and I will grow regardless. And it just completely kicked my ass. Because when you deny one part of life, it comes back and it kicks your ass in a very big way. So when Thomas Sheridan first said love and light will kill you, he wasn't joking. Love and light will kill you. It's the pagan way to find the balance between good and bad. You can't destroy bad. Bad has been here longer than you have. Good has been here longer than you have. The best you can do, in a humble way, is find a balance. So don't do love and light, that shit'll kill you. And I'm going to leave this forest now, because I came here to sit quietly, and I got like 15 kids, 12 dogs, and a fucking moped behind me. Yeah. I hope the audio is okay and I can keep this edit. Ga met de goden. And Holland's getting too crowded, man. And I'll see you in a week or two.